The steamship. Never mind. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. That does sound like a Sherlock Holmes thing.
Small, dark room. Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound.
Grrr.
Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
True. And then they died. The end. What's going on, guilty guys and gals? Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. We're aboard a steamship. Nice. There he is.
So then, let us unravel this mystery.
So then.
And discover what events led to this curious murder.
No.
The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery.
Fancy.
In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor.
In Russian?
Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So, the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters
It is backwards.
suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script.
Extraordinary.
Not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality.
What is this?
This paper seal was
Oh
placed
my.
just prior to the incident by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you? And what do you think you're doing here?
Oh, goodness.
No one must touch before
The Russian.
police come. We must wait.
No one touches this.
You see,
It's going to be hard for me to keep up.
5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
I like this voice quite a lot.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you? And where have you come from?
Hey, that's him! Wait, hold on.
Consultant detective, the only one in the world.
I know that guy.
Sherlock Holmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
What happened to your mustache? Am I in there? You're being accused of murder again, good chap. Ugh, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. I'd say. Wait. I can't move. What the? Why am I in handcuffs? So you wake up now, Now's this thing. So you wake up now, We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You found me then. Da, we found you. And now you pay, criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, Sorry. Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. He's a stowaway, right? There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Never mind, it's her. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Mr. Sato. Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Ha! You pretend you do not know. You are wolf in sheep's belt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. These handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No. No. Is this a nightmare or is this real? Because this is quite unfortunate. It's always the mentor character. See, man? Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else would you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was about to die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey! Honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Just the idea of them lifting. Okay, anyway. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, where's the caveman? Anyway, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. So that we can set up your unfortunate scenario for the killing. Anyway, it's about the time the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. Well, that solves a few mysteries anyway. Everything Herlock was talking about. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. We'll leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Duh, you said it before. You said you admit everything about your crime. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on this ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done. Admit the truth. Sasato-san. Please, Tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there's something I'd like to ask of you, too. Ugh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare's getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just some bad dream. And these handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. Well, the steward did it. I mean, I don't know, they had to break their way out, so somebody climbed through somewhere. Like that conspicuous vent above the wardrobe. Anyway. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit could only have been someone inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Sasato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we'll learn more until an expert has been consulted at the next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then? That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you'd know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I like the zooming in this game, by the way. I don't think I talked about that before, but it's very, like, dynamic. Anyway. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far in this voyage. But this morning, he didn't come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door? I wonder. I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-san, collapsed on the floor. So the killer is Russian. They assumed he was Russian, despite the fact that he's wearing like a imperial... Anyway. And so they wrote the message in Russian. I wonder if they confused him for someone else, maybe. Which is unfortunate, but could be the case. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me, too, trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. Oh, my head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Stowaway. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruto-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now. I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No. That would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself.
I don't understand.
Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you want to become a lawyer yourself? Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then... Then what? Nothing. Forget it. They could change the justice system together. Also, that conversation just made me remember that Cosmo had a secret mission going to London, too. That could be the reason he's dead. Anyway.
Kazuma-sama is... He's always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you.
Yeah, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Sasato-san. I'm sorry we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean.
If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association.
That's exactly right, actually, yes. Word perfect, in fact.
Doo-doo. If you're not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin?
Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I
fell asleep?
Well, yeah.
So deeply you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed?
Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything.
Really?
Is something wrong?
Oh, no, it's... Please forget it.
Susato-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it.
I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there's no one else who could have possibly done this.
Oh, not again. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Oh, I can't take this.
Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen.
I'm sorry, but Cosmo was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen.
Well, what do you propose to do then?
I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Cosmo's life, and how and why they did it. So, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hi-ya! She threw us. What the?
That was a Susato takedown.
Nice. Susato what? What martial art form is that?
My personal martial art form. I'm gonna need you to prove it.
Sorry? Prove it?
Yes, your innocence. I need evidence.
But how am I supposed to...
Have you forgotten already what you just achieved a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law.
Ah, I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. My university pin. No. Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors?
Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so.
Cosmo always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So, naturally, he did the same last night as well.
Ah, yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them.
But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own.
Yes, that's quite true.
In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma.
Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you.
Thank you, Susato-san.
Now, do you think perhaps you could help me...
do you think perhaps you could help me up? Yes, that makes more sense.
Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least.
Thank you. So you finally believe me?
I'm sorry, no.
What?
I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position.
What does she think I am, a magician? You're a wizard, Naruto.
For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same.
Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san.
Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts.
Oh.
I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example.
Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear. I'll avenge your death. Alright, here we go. The move is a carriage. That's funny. Okay. Oh, hey, the Russian's still here. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, that wasn't supposed to be a joke.
He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty.
He might have useful information, though. I'll have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Nyat! Of course not! Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. Nyat!
Oh dear, that won't do.
What's the matter, Susato-san?
Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused, I forget to look around properly.
Yeah, that's not good.
I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruto-san?
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you're careful to look all around using the D-pad, aren't you? Now, let's investigate all corners of this cabin.
Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Okay, so we've got 2 vantage points. What the hell's up with this food? What is this? Like a giant leg of chicken?
That's my dinner from last night. Roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor? I'm not a dog, Susanna-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no! Does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach.
That's gonna become important later. What, I can't examine the sword? Okay, no, I can. It's just hard to select it.
That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it.
Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul.
I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip.
I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. So, like, why didn't he defend himself with it, right? That's a question. Warning. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria.
It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all the passengers on board.
Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me?
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide.
Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. I think the sword is a dangerous weapon, and Naruhodo is clearly the pet. Oh no, is it the thinker? It can't be. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way.
And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well.
Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked, and everything mown down at once.
I wonder if... perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think?
I seriously doubt it.
Then perhaps... it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage.
I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case? I wonder. Doom, doom, doom.
Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess.
Just a gap there. Conspicuous. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. It looks like a bell. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two.
The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit.
Hopefully I said that right. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he?
And the mark beside it, what is this, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue.
Yeah, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Let's go. Bonk. So where did this ink come from, anyway?
That's a very large traveling case, isn't it?
Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me.
Memories? What do you mean?
Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case.
Ah, yes. I see it says "this way up" in Japanese.
Which, in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. It was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed onto the floor here.
Oh dear. Being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds.
Well, it was less painful than a Sasato takedown. Nice.
Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink.
He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed to the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine.
I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing.
I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san.
What? Then what language is it?
It pains me to admit it, but I don't know.
It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder?
Hey, Russian guy, can you read the Russian script on the floor? What does it say? Please?
This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing.
London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue.
Hiya! That's out of the question.
What?
Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts.
But what if there's something important? Something relevant to the case?
Opposite Maya.
Alright, I won't read it. At least not yet.
Poor Kazuma-sama.
I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important?
How about you read it? Would you mind that?
It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san?
I think living isn't quite the right description.
Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout.
The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception.
But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin.
No, sadly not.
What's this?
Yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think.
What do you mean, contraption?
I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants.
Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try?
Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people.
No, I'm sure it's just that everyone's busy, that's all.
Oh, jeez. I do like how, like, despite the fact that, like, we're very serious college students, they're still kind of kids, you know? It's funny.
I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin.
Isn't that a little odd?
What do you mean?
Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, it looks like it must connect to the next door cabin.
Yes, it would appear to. You're right.
But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected outside.
That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that?
I suppose. Maybe that's it.
Oh, hi. When did you get here? I came in through that little pipe you see in the ceiling. So they set this up like a RimWorld base. If you ever played that game where you just have ventilators between all the rooms.
As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European.
Oh, how did he...
You've noticed him too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall.
Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is?
Well, no, I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk or just playing on it? I can't tell.
Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him.
Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited?
By the way, I expect you noticed already, but just in case, if you press A on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them.
Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself.
Oh, please do.
I mean, who wouldn't have a crush on Herlock Sholmes, right? Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly.
Yes, perhaps that would be for the best.
There he is. Ah! Greetings. I hope I haven't kept you long.
Ah!
What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? I see. I see. Fascinating. Sorry. What do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least.
But how?
How the deuce did I know that? How the deuce, never mind. I just read deduce because it's Sherlock Holmes. How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining.
Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else?
But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the beribboned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Beribboned, I see. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you're talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another member in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill.
So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama.
What?
And you're plotting a revolution, too. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked.
No, listen. There's no way I...
Hiya!
Goodness.
Now explain yourself. Tell me everything.
This is ridiculous. And then I died.
How could you do it?
For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously.
Oh, forgive me.
And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yeah, maybe.
Ha! There you have it, you see. What do you make of that, hmm?
Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation.
Indeed, and observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And, more often than not, I'm right.
I don't really think you introduced yourself.
Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Holmes.
So, it's really you? The actual Sherlock Holmes? The one I heard so much about on Twitter?
The very same. The inimitable actual Sherlock Holmes.
Do you know this guy, Susanoo-san?
The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him.
What planet have I been living on, then?
We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure.
Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this?
Okay. Well, here we go.
So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again?
Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it?
No, I have no... Oh, airlock. Like, hair forehead. Anyway, no, I have no hair. I have hair. Please call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication.
Oh yes, Rand's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I'll never miss an issue. I have it sent from England, especially.
Yeah, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then?
Indeed I am.
And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective?
Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward.
Backward?
My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in a magazine.
You have a biographer? Do you?
Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London.
Dr. Wilson?
I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been frantically busy of late. Why, at this very moment I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown.
Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not.
Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form.
A science?
Really?
The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all of these things are data.
Right.
And the trained logician makes his deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago.
How can you look me in the eye and claim that?
So, you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction, and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Wonderful. Once I finished Herlock's text, I'll stop the episode.
Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet?
Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow! Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, I see. In other words... I'm in these now because of him.
When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin door open.
And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Herlock Sholmes was on board. And the handcuffs seem to have been an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, 2 facts were immediately apparent to me.
Oh, really? 2 facts, you say?
Oh God, it's expanding.
Mr. Sholmes, tell us, please. What 2 facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning?
Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. The 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me.
Yes, I understand. But what were they?
Allow me to elucidate. The 2 facts that were deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1. The cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2. The victim was Russian, and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance.
Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian?
Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. I can't pronounce that. That is the Russian word for wardrobe.
Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian?
In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian.
Kazuma was Russian? Was he?
Initially, I considered Garderobe may be the name of a killer, a certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interests of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least.
Well, you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly.
Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer.
Why is it that I'm Russian too?
I observed you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people.
Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea.
And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong.
I took a photograph of the victim in the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. Analyze it. I almost said that. Okay, I'm trying to read it upside down. It's actually harder than it looks. You know what? I can actually do this. I might regret this. Where is it? Transform. Da 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 da. Okay, let's go. Let's just go 180. I know it's gone, but it'll be back soon. I'd have to like flip it as well. Lab. Because you can see like this was added afterwards, right? Oh, I'm doing it with my mouse. You can't see that. The top of like the V was added afterwards. Although I guess the A here wouldn't be an A still, would it? I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, now I have to change it back. Can I just Control Z it? Oh, I can. Perfect. Even better. Okay, back to what we were doing. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed.
Yes, Cosmo had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this.
Are you all right, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, yes, thank you.
A photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record.
Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes?
What, pray?
You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that,
Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth.
Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think?
Russian word! Certainly, if it interests you.
How many times? I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deductions before? The things you concluded about me, I mean.
Ah, the now famously accurate troubling predicament you find yourself in.
Actually, it was the other detail I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part.
Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper, and the main headline reads: Revolutionary Violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call in Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered.
Since when was Cosima a Russian?
It sounds like Mr. Sholmes had concluded he was Russian because of what Cosima-sama wrote on the floor.
It was a simple act of reasoning to realize the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, violent Bolshevik.
No! How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face.
Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well.
Please.
And, might I add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more?
Well, that's because I'm a stowaway.
What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower.
Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in this article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake.
Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters? I wonder.
And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan?
Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region in Afghanistan.
Where even is that anyway? This Afghanistan place.
Is that a joke about all the made-up countries they had in Miles Edgeworth investigations and stuff? I can't remember what any of them are. Like the one where Maki Tobai and Lamiwar was from. What was that? Virginia? Yeah. Apparently in the few years after this, there was some crazy war and a bunch of new countries got made. Anyway, here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of my great deduction.
Oh, thank you.
I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, and I see no rubbish bin nearby. You will be my rubbish bin today. I hope you are happy. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well.
On the back?
Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret.
It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt to just glance at the article. Maybe there's a picture or two.
Okay, can I do that? Oh, the ballerina.
This is interesting.
Have you found something relevant, Naruto-san?
Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting.
I can't read a single word, I'm afraid.
No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess. Do you think?
She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you?
I don't know. I can't make any sense of it.
Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article.
How did you get in my mindscape?
Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents.
Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes.
It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. So they're just using, like Russian terms, like Bolshevik and Pavlov. That's funny. Anyway. Why are Russian names all so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room. Wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles?
I have no idea, but I'm quite sure. It must be an unbelievable sum of money.
Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yeah, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain.
Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country?
It doesn't seem to be the Russian thing to do. It does seem to be the Russian thing to do, I see.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo.
The article about the ballerina has been entered into the court record. Alright, well, we got the ballerina. Anyway, what were you just investigating? Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Oh, yes, the victim.
Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all?
Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some texts. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes about the trip. But... I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. He looks nervously over his shoulder. Tragic! And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. She can't do it. Susato-san? Aren't you gonna throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns?
I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean?
Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of this writing? Pray, be precise to its details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So what was all that showing off about before then?
If you two would be so kind as to show me, I'd be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes.
I'm much obliged. My dear madame. The bow.
The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound.
A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on.
The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
A speckled band? What on earth does that mean?
I have no idea. I've never heard of that expression before.
The ventilator grill, you say? That man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been entered into the court record. I see. So what we saw at the beginning of the case was the magazine's interpretation of this case. That's funny, actually. I like that. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least.
Do you have somewhere to go?
As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold.
Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to?
Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So, yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear soon enough.
Do you think perhaps that we could go with you?
No, that would be somewhat complicated.
What? But why?
A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer.
Oh, these...
After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No,
There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place.
whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point.
You must be joking. You just said it, just a moment ago.
Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing.
Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that, too.
You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know? Not really.
So what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are.
Well, anyway, that was then, and this is now.
What do you mean?
What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate.
Now he's just being plain rude.
And then he left, still laughing.
And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name.
Get it?
Naruto-san, what are you just standing there for?
Huh?
We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well.
Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I...
Hi-ya! After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate?
Ugh, as if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. It's funny. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door.
Good idea.
The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Cosmo to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Alright. Well, next time we will continue on our quest to bring the real culprit to justice. I knew Cosmo was going to die. I knew it. But I saw, what's his name? The detective from the last case. He was in a crewman's uniform. Is he a spy now? What's going on with that? What was his name? I've got like Mikotoba stuck in my head now. It was something like that. I think it started with an M. I don't know. Anyway, he's here somewhere, so I'm sure he'll be important. Kazuma, what was he doing? And why would a Russian person kill him? Who'd they think he was? Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, leave a like, perhaps subscribe. If you were offended by my Russian accent, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. The game made me do it. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Sayonara.